Nice. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Swamp Gas Podcast. I'm your host, Don, and this here is
Bruce. What's up?
What's up, my man?
Not too much, man. How you been?
Not too bad. Why don't you give me a rundown, tell me who you are and why we're here, and we'll fucking rattle it off.
All right. All right. Well, I've known this guy for quite a long time. We've been doing this off camera, off air for the past 5 years, and this is our first attempt at putting it on the air. So,
what's a long time?
It's a long time coming.
How long have you and I known each other?
Yeah. We could do that. We could do a whole session just on that alone, I'm sure.
Yeah, we
went into a lot of fought beside this gentleman many a time. So.
Well, even long before that, I've known you since what, middle school?
That's true. No, actually, yes, it was. So I can actually pinpoint when I met you. We were in summer school at OTC, and we were both in the auto mechanics course. And you stuck with it. I did not, but that's when I met you. That was the first time. I think it was ninth grade. Or going into ninth grade, something like that.
That sounds about right. So we were both a bunch of underachieving fucks in summer school.
Not much has changed.
On a podcast here today called the Swamp Gas Podcast. You got to say it over and over again, right? That's how people remember.
That's right. Swamp Gas Podcast.
It rolls right off the tongue too. I love it.
It does.
All right, so I'm Don. I'm low end achieving fox, just like this guy that doesn't do a lot with my life. I went to the Army and did that whole thing, bounced around the world for a little bit with an AR-15 kicking indoors, which is good fun.
That's right.
And then I came back to the U.S. and continued being a low achieving fuck until we got here today, in which the Swamp Gas Podcast will be the higher end of our achievements.
That's right.
Here on out, right? So, what are we going to talk about today? What's the Swamp Gas Podcast all about?
I mean, honestly, what it's all about is to be determined. We'll see as time goes on what this Swamp Gas manifests itself into being. But I figure right now we should start off with something that nobody is going to remember us talking about because no one's heard what we've been talking about, but something that you and I have been talking about independently for the past, decade, would be the actual existence of extraterrestrials, UFOs, whatever you want to call them, aerial threats, whatever they're called now. But so...
Yeah, what's the new thing? They're not UFOs anymore.
They're like aerial
unidentified aerial phenomena.
Aerial
AUP or UAPs.
Unidentified aerial threat. Yeah.
Phenomena.
UAP. That's right.
Yeah.
But dude, honestly, it's crazy because it was just a couple of years ago that we mentioned on a recording that it was the Pentagon that came out and they were talking about, they at least admitted that some things were going on and they didn't know about it. And we thought it was really weird that now we're still going back to work. We were at work talking about this and dude, the government is saying that there's something going on. And here we are just punching a time clock, like nothing's happening.
You and I and 8 other people sitting down in the parking garage.
That's
looking
right.
at this video. Are we the only ones seeing this?
Dude,
the Pentagon just released these videos of UFO. They called them UFOs.
Right.
I'm not calling them that.
Absolutely.
The Pentagon says these are UFOs. The Pentagon released these videos. You don't get more disclosure than that.
100%. Made me want to pop open my trunk and pass out those tinfoil hats.
And that doesn't mean that anybody's calling them aliens. They didn't come from Zeta Reticuli or they didn't come from Mars. Nobody fucking knows. These are unidentified flying objects. We don't know what the fuck they are. By definition.
And now I'm getting to the point though, bro, where I I'm starting to not buy that we don't know what they are. I'm really just starting to not buy that as much as that makes sense. I thought that light would help, but so to catch everybody up to speed, if you're not paying attention to the to the news, whatever, blah blah blah, the weather balloon, whatever they call it, the Chinese spy balloon, they shot that down. They shot down a high school balloon too. They ruined this kid's birthday party and just they were launching cruise missiles at water balloons. And then no, I'm just joking.
Valentine's Day balloon that you got for your girlfriend and she let it go 30 seconds after you fucking got back in your car. They shot a $400,000 missile at that thing to take it out of
out of the sky, dude. Right out of the sky.
It is a threat.
So, but aside from that, and this is something that happened up near where you live, and I'm not going to give out where you live on here, but up near,
not too far away,
out in the middle of nowhere, they find a UFO, and they shoot it down over Lake Huron. Now, the first absolute this is nonsense, and I don't buy it. Alarm that goes off in my head is the fact that they shot it down. The fact that they shot it down. We've had so many that we've engaged with over the years that we've shot at. The Russians have shot at. Reportedly, I wasn't there hanging out. Trust me, I wasn't making popcorn in one of those fighter jets. But I'm telling you, that's what the reports are saying. That these UFOs or whatever, they messed with their weapon system. They couldn't shoot. They couldn't lock onto it. They shot at it and nothing would happen. And now all of a sudden, in a course of a week, we shoot down 3 of them.
Right.
I don't buy it. All
right. So we need to back up a little bit to get a little bit of context.
Please.
Right? Over the last, since the 1960s, right? Not only us, but we've also heard reports of Iran tracking down unidentified flying objects and engaging them militarily. You shoot them down with a missile, and all their systems shut down. Same thing with the Russians. I've heard a couple reports, I think, out of China like that, but mostly out of the Soviet Union, because when the Soviet Union collapsed, guess what? All the records became almost not exactly public, but a lot more easily accessible.
Right.
We got to see all the stuff that they were doing. They thought it was us. We thought it was them. Back and forth. But anytime they try to engage these things, for the most part, it's not like every single case is the same, right? Every single case is its own unique case, right? It's important to keep in mind. But a lot of the times when they go to engage these things, lock on with the missile, all their systems shut down. There's been pilots that have died because their plane shuts off.
Right.
You're done. Now, fast forward up to, I don't even know what the day was. 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago now, we find out there's this Chinese spy balloon just drifting across the United States, right? Turns out we tracked this thing all the way from the South Pacific when it was first launched from a Chinese boat. Tracked it all the way across the Pacific, all the way across the Aleutian Islands, into Canada, back down through Montana, while it hovers over half of our nuclear arsenal, and then just travels around through South Carolina, and then we shoot it down.
Yeah.
Now, this thing was massive. It's an enormous balloon at 60,000 feet. And the payload, the thing that the balloon is carrying, is the size of 3 Greyhound buses. That's huge.
Yeah,
That's a massive balloon. That is massive. So, by all indications, this is Chinese spy surveillance equipment, right? Cameras, radio transmission, interception type stuff, right?
Right.
They're scooping up communications. They're taking high-def footage of everything we're doing on the ground, especially over the nuclear sites and the military bases, all these sensitive sites throughout the country. nobody knew anything about it, civilian-wise, publicly, until somebody in Montana, fucking Wyatt Earp, just pointed his cell phone at the sky and said, "What is this thing?" And it went viral on fucking Twitter. I am convinced right now that if that never happened, if that guy didn't spot it in Montana, in the middle of fucking nowhere, we never would have heard about it.
You're probably right.
Drifted across the country, back out into the Atlantic, and they just dropped it, and a Chinese submarine picked it up and went off with their intelligence, even though that the Pentagon tracked it all the way from the Pacific, never did anything about it.
Well, so it definitely stands to, the question stands to be asked then, how many more of these things do you think have happened before this? I mean, we are conditioned to have our faces just down in our phones, looking down, not looking up, not paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah. It's just dumb luck that this guy in Montana wasn't staring at his phone in his face. He was actually looking up in the sky and happened to see this dumb thing.
But that brings me back to our first question. Then, stupid or evil?
I chalk this one up to stupidity.
Maybe.
Because the entire time, the entire country was screaming, "Why is it still there? Shoot it down. Shoot it," for days. For days, people screaming, "Shoot the fucking thing down." Nope. We're just going to wait.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, if we shoot it down in Montana, we'll land on a school. There's like 7 schools in the entire state of Montana.
Yeah.
There's like 20,000 people live in Montana.
Right.
There's nobody there. It's all cows. Shoot the fucking thing down. You're fine. So I chalk that one up purely to stupidity. Actually, not even stupidity. Corruption. I chalk that one up to corruption. Well, that goes back to
evil then. Stupid or evil.
All right. You might be able to chalk that up to evil then.
That's what I'm getting at. That's kind of the point I'm making.
We knew where this thing launched in the Pacific, and we just let it go. We had the opportunity to shoot it when it was over the Bering Sea, but we didn't. We let it go. Let it go ahead over Alaska. Let it keep running all over the place. So, yeah, I guess you could chalk that up to evil.
Yeah.
But then that brings us up to these new incidents after that, where now all of a sudden, all right, holy crap, we got to update our radar. We've been filtering out all of this stuff, all these slow-moving objects, so that we don't clutter up our radar. We need to watch for planes and missiles and stuff, the important stuff.
Yeah.
So they do that, and now all of a sudden we got crap all over the skies. So in the course of 3 days, we shoot down 3 more objects. Or was it 4? It might have been 4 objects.
4 objects total. One of them, and this is not including that high school balloon thing. There was one Chinese spy balloon shot down that they're claiming. So obviously I wasn't there. I don't know if it's a Chinese spy balloon. But, and then they say 3 of what they call UFOs or UAPs. You know, or UAP,
one on the north coast of Alaska.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon. What's that?
There was one on the north coast of Alaska.
Yes.
They shot down and it crashed into the ice.
There was one in.
They now say that they're not going to be able to recover.
Yeah, shocking.
There was another one shot down in the Yukon that's up to Canada to recover.
And then Lake Huron.
And then Lake Huron, which may also be in Canadian waters, but
either way, nothing has been recovered.
Well, I believe it's the one in Lake Huron that they say was the may potentially be that Indiana high school balloon club.
Once again, on today's episode of
Indiana Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade. Like, my God, you cannot get more caricature.
This isn't. If you can't, like, here's the thing, man. Remember 2 years ago when the Tic Tac, when Dr. Fravor was on talking about that Tic Tac?
Yep.
Okay, that was a very intelligent man.
Yeah.
So that makes me believe It makes me
That's a guy who
believe
knows what he's talking
that
about.
maybe they're not all as smart. They might not be all as smart as Dr. Fravor. I hope I'm saying his name right. But
That's right.
but they also shouldn't be stupider. You know what I'm saying? Like they shouldn't be. So my point is, how are they mistaking a high school experiment balloon and with a UFO where because they're saying it's moving in ways that we can't understand. It's got no propulsion. You really, because you could say the same thing about a floating balloon. Are you really going to tell me that you can't tell the difference between a floating balloon and a UFO?
Well,
If that's
right.
the case, we need to restaff.
As I understand it,
Everybody needs to
you're
go home.
conflating a few different things. I don't believe anybody ever said this thing's jamming my radar, like they did with the Go Fast video, the Tic Tac.
There's
video, right?
conflicting. Go ahead.
Nobody ever said this thing's jamming my radar. We can't see it. I can't get a lock on it. They did say it has no visible means of propulsion. That's a balloon.
Yeah, I get that.
It has no visible means of propulsion, right?
But if you can't tell the difference between a spaceship, a UFO, or a balloon, my friend, you need to go back to school. I'm sorry.
I don't know. You may be surprised when you have a stationary balloon in the sky and you're traveling at 800 miles an hour in your F-22, zipping around it trying to get a look at this stationary balloon, which can literally take any shape whatever shape it was that the balloon.
Yeah, no, I know the wind and gravity is a magical thing. Right? But listen, so all right, hang on. I just lost my train of thought. The thing that kind of bothers me though is the fact that I don't know, man. I lost my train of thought. Hang on, I'll find it again.
Well, yeah. Either way, I do believe that one of these objects, that probably, definitely the one over Lake Huron, was this high school club's balloon, right? Now,
it's possible.
The one over Alaska, we still haven't heard jack shit.
Well, here's why, though. Hang on. This is what I was going to say.
We haven't heard jack shit about what that was.
What I was going to say is, so from what I've heard, there has been conflicting reports from what was seen at the crash sites, wherever they might be. One of the three crash sites, if not all of them, from different people. So that brings me back to stupid or evil. You know what I mean? Like if they're going to have conflicting reports, it sounds to me like there's an agenda trying to be pushed, and certain people are willing to play ball and certain people are not.
It's certainly possible. The one thing that's absolutely clear is we're not getting any answers from the government.
Oh, yeah.
They aren't telling us anything.
Yeah.
Even if it is just a high school club's balloon, why can't you say that? Why is that classified information? The only reason that that's classified information is because you don't want to look stupid.
Yeah.
But you're just making yourself look stupid in the meantime.
Right.
That's what blows my mind. Actually, no, the one in Lake Huron, we didn't shoot one Sidewinder at it. We shot two Sidewinders at it.
Yeah.
Two.
We missed one.
$400,000 missiles to take down a $13.25 balloon.
Now, let me ask you a question, though. What's the range on those?
Actually, the one, it may not be the one over Lake Huron. Actually, I'm thinking of. I think it was the one in the Yukon. Now that I'm thinking about it, because the balloon that they had launched from Indiana was on its 6th trip around the Earth. It had circumnavigated the Earth 6 times before they shot it down.
No. I'm talking about what's the how far could the Sidewinder go, the cruise missile?
Oh, the range on those? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but obviously it's not my field. I'm an Army guy. I do my fighting on the ground. AIM-9 missile, 10, 20 miles.
Oh, wow. Okay. Never mind.
I'd say.
Never mind. I was going to say, if they missed something conveniently and then something blew up, 400 miles away.
Well, it just kind of blows your mind that a $400,000 missile can't hit a balloon in the sky.
Yeah, I just,
This is where my brain breaks when people say things like, yeah, the government is going to put all these holograms in the sky for a fake alien invasion. Bro, the government can't shoot a balloon out of the sky.
Yeah.
These are the people that we're going to put in charge of the fake alien invasion to bring in the New World Order and shit. No, come on.
I think we just give them.
The government.
I think we give them way too much credit.
Way too much credit. They aren't that good at this.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at with that. And case in point, to have ourselves a nice segue. Case in point of government incompetence. What else happened this week? Joe Biden decided to take himself a surprise visit to Ukraine over the weekend. Instead of
left Ohio to fend for itself. I'm so out of the loop of what's going on in the Ukraine war right now, because there's so many other wars that are happening across the world that and I'm not trying to discredit anything that's going on right now in Ukraine and Russia and all that, but they are not the only ones that are fighting. They're not the only ones that are defending their land. Let's be real here. Not. So if we're just going to pick and choose who we feel sorry for, that's
a lot of people like to think that the world's at peace until it's on the evening news.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. There's a lot of conflict going on that is not getting any attention.
A genocide at any given point in the last 400 years.
Say that again?
Half of Africa, in some variation, is in the midst of a genocide at any given point over the last 400 years.
Absolutely.
Nobody cares.
No, absolutely. Yeah, just because it's not, nobody made a movie about it yet.
Civil War for the last 50 years.
Leonardo DiCaprio hasn't talked about it yet.
Prior to 1 year ago, nobody could find Ukraine on a map.
Oh, yeah. No, nobody knew anything about it. But, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm always going to beat the Armenian horse. You know what I mean? This is, it blows my mind that it took 100 years past the genocide for America to even admit that the genocide happened. And now, they've been at war with Azerbaijan for 2-3 years. And
I mean, even not to call you out, even yourself, a year ago, could you point Armenia out on a map?
I could, yeah. No, I could.
2 years ago.
Yeah, I had to do projects in high school. Absolutely. No, I could. Absolutely.
The vast majority of people,
I did make fun of our mutual friend. The vast
majority of people who claim Armenian descent.
What's that?
Could not find Armenia. The vast majority of people of Armenian descent could not find Armenia on a map.
Amen. No, that's very true. Very true.
Here in America, I'm talking about America.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. It's because it's not
in our own bubble.
It's not something that it's not talked about. It's not anything that's a travesty. But that's what they're to circle it back to Ohio. That's what it's kind of what America's trying to do with Ohio, was kind of brush it under the rug and forget about the oil spill. Just let it.
Nobody pays attention to it. Change the topic.
Exactly.
Real quick. Blows my mind, man. Those people may be fucked for generations.
For generations, man.
Generations.
Dude, there's apparently kids showing up with rashes. Like you were talking about the oils coming up in the water and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the videos. They throw the rock in the creek and all the oil comes up out of it. You see all the rainbow colors on the fucking in the creek. Oh my God, man. All that shit's in the water.
Yeah.
It's on after they burned it off, it's coming, then it rained, it's coming down onto the soil. You know how much corn comes out of Ohio, man?
No, I mean, I'm sure a lot, but yeah, that's
corn. Have you ever driven through Ohio?
Yeah, it's nothing but corn.
You take 75 south, man. It's 4 hours of corn. 4 hours of straight corn.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, you're right about that.
Horrible. I hate driving through Ohio.
Yeah.
But all that corn goes somewhere, man. Even if you don't eat corn, you know what it is? Your cows are eating that corn. Yeah. You get a burger, they're eating that corn.
No, yeah.
That
I get
entire
that.
river basin, that entire Ohio River Valley flows all the way across Kentucky, down into the Mississippi River, all the way down to the Gulf. You're talking about like 14 states that
Yeah,
this shit touches.
it's not, and there's no plan in place for for what's happening, for what comes next, for the cleanup.
If there is a plan, nobody's bothered to tell us about
Yeah.
it.
But let's hang on
Like
before
we
we
were talking
dance
about
over to that
earlier,
one. I want to bring up one more big point.
EPA just showed up.
Yeah.
Just that, because a couple days ago they were still saying this isn't a job for the EPA. We got the
It
Transportation
seems like
Bureau.
it's exactly
We
a
got the
job for
NTSB doing their thing. We've got the CDC doing their thing. It's not a job for the EPA. Then all of a sudden, well, what happened was all of a sudden Trump showed up with like 8 tractor trailer loads of water, and now the EPA shows up.
I just saw a video that he was like at McDonald's buying everybody milkshakes.
Yeah. He took all these people out to McDonald's. He bought them like 10 tractor trailer loads full of Trump water, right? You see that? It wasn't Aquafina. It was Trump water.
He doesn't call it Trump water. Of course he does. So hang on. Let me circle back one really quick to that UFO topic. So here's where I have to poke a hole in my own theory, where I don't buy that it's aliens. I don't buy it. I don't. However,
I agree. I don't buy that any of these things in the last 2 weeks have been aliens.
Yeah.
I'm not with that.
I mean, I'm with you on that. However, has there been an explanation for that mysterious string of lights that appeared over Detroit? Like the day after we shot that thing down?
No. Not that I've seen anyway, but I did see that same string of lights. Somebody had posted that same string of lights in like Iowa or something like that.
I mean,
which means that shit that's not just like in the sky. That's an orbit, right? That's traveling across. So
I mean, have you ever seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? That's what it looked like.
I mean, that could easily be some Elon Musk shit that I'm unaware of.
Dude, Elon Musk, let me be
before.
real, man. Elon Musk does not have a car in outer space.
What do you mean he doesn't have a car in outer space?
He does not have a car in outer space. I'm sorry, brother.
You don't think he put a Tesla into outer space?
I 100% do not believe that they have that in outer space.
Why?
Aside from the fact that like the picture looks like something made in like a 1980s movie, like it's so terrible. Like I feel like they didn't even try.
MTV commercials from the 90s. Yeah, it does.
It's so remarkably unbelievable that I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't believe that any governing power. Let me ask you a question. Do you not think? Okay, so the only reason. Let me give you my reason.
Put up a telescope and track it in the sky, though.
Oh, I'm sure you can track something, but it ain't that. I promise you, it ain't that. But so here's my thing.
All kinds of shit up in the sky. He's got Starlink. He's got all kinds.
He's got a lot of stuff. There. And you do not. And let me ask you a question. Do you think that having Starlink, SpaceX, all that nonsense that he has, which only became like public, like you could only like I'm trying to think of the word, civilians could start to go to the moon, essentially try to go to space. After NASA opened that up, you don't think that they put stipulations on that, or you think that people can just launch whatever they want into space? I guarantee you there's stipulations on that, and I bet you any amount of money that they're not going to let you just throw a car into space.
All right. I think it's a little bit of both. One, I think Elon Musk wasn't asking much of anybody for permission to start building rockets.
Sure. Well, he has to get permission.
When he starts building self-landing rockets and shit like that, he's not asking anybody's permission. Well, once he perfected that, and trust me, that was a long, dark road of failed attempts, right? There's hundreds of videos of his rockets exploding on the fucking landing field, right? Hundreds of them. Years in the making before they perfected this thing. But eventually they did. And that's a fucking game changer. And now he's like the sole contractor for resupplying the space station.
Okay. All right. So I'll suspend disbelief for 1 second and I'll ask you a question. I'll suspend disbelief for 1 second and ask you a question. Okay? Using your own words, he's perfected the landing, blah, 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 years in the making. Why haven't we been back to the moon?
They're supposedly putting that together right now.
Oh, yeah, supposedly. Yeah. I don't know, man. I just don't know. I'm honestly,
we'll see what happens.
I've left team. We went to the moon.
You know what? I'm not going to argue with you there. I'm not entirely sure that we ever did.
Yeah.
Get to the moon. Now, do you think that the Chinese got there?
I have no idea about any of their programs. So I would be very ignorant to speak on something that I would be so ill-educated on. I just don't know enough about their program.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
But I have a hard
NASA
time buying that anyone has gotten there.
NASA just put up their. They had the successful launch of the Artemis just a couple months ago, right? And that's supposed to be their new moon rocket, right? They did just launch this thing a couple months ago.
Yeah, what happened to it?
Like, did you just in the last month, maybe two? They just did a lunar orbit. They launched the Artemis, went around the moon a couple times, and came back. They're going to do that a couple times, and then they're going to do a manned landing on the moon again, supposedly. So they say, right? But isn't it ridiculous that we have to go through all this again? Like, they literally deleted all of the information from the moon landing. Nobody can remember how they got there in the first place. It is kind of ridiculous. You still with me?
Oh, hang on, I lost you. There we go. Sorry about that, man.
Okay. United States Space Agency plans to launch its next moon mission in 2024 called Artemis 2. Take astronauts to orbit the moon. U.S. agency is due to launch the Artemis 3 mission in 2025 or 26, landing the first woman and first person of color on the moon. As long as we have our DEI fucking check boxes in place, good to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't buy that we ever went in the first place, man. That's where I stand. I don't
necessarily know that we did either. Could go either way. I don't know. I'm undecided on that one. Did we ever land on the moon? This is our first episode, no. We might as well just fucking dive into the bag of what conspiracy theories are legit and aren't.
No, I mean, they all have some. I mean, most of them have some leg to stand on.
Sure. I mean, there wouldn't be a valid conspiracy theory if they didn't, right? Yeah. I don't know if we ever did or not. I'm not 100% convinced that we did. I'm not 100% convinced that we didn't.
There's a lot of videos out there there's a lot of videos out there that make me second guess it. That's all I have to say. There's more things that make me second guess it than videos that actually make me believe that it ever happened.
Sure. Now, neither you or I were alive in 1969 to sit down in front of the black and white TV and say, wow. I guess it would have been color TV at that point, but
I think it was in front of the radio. That's the thing, because they didn't have it. Wasn't live.
Most of it, yeah. Oh no,
it wasn't live.
Well, it was live with a 15-minute delay. But yeah,
I don't buy that they were able to do that back then.
Well, there's a lot of issues with that. How did they get the How did the transmission pierce the Van Allen radiation belt? And
I don't buy it.
They say
I don't.
somehow we don't know how to do that today, but we could do that in 1969.
Let me ask you a question to go super. Why did Werner von Braun put on his tombstone talking about the firmament, and he was the head of NASA?
Because he was a Nazi.
Yeah, I get that. What does that have to do with anything? I mean, yes, he was, which is a big blip on our radar. But yes, or a big red mark on our history.
All the major founders of NASA, they were all Nazi rocket scientists. Before they were putting rockets to go up to the moon, they were putting rockets into London.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Crazy fucks. All right, so what else?
You know what? I think that we need to. Wrap this up. We got about 40 minutes so far. What, 45 minutes?
Yeah, we're about 36, 37.
I say we
minutes.
wrap this one for right now, and we bring it back. Bring it back tomorrow.
All right, buddy.
All right, man.
Well, good to see
you, man. We'll talk to you guys later.
Have our audience here.
What's that?
Good to have our audience rocking it here at the Swamp Gas Podcast. Hopefully, you're all enjoying it. And hopefully, we can keep this rolling. And I'm going to get a Patreon set up so that y'all can show us some love. And hopefully get us a little cash flow going our way so that we can do this a little more often.
Absolutely.
And we'll go from there. And hopefully we can get some good guests lined up for us and some better topics. You guys have a good one. And give me a sign off, Bruce.
Hey, man. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys next time at the Swamp Gas Podcast.